Hi there, Solomon here. In this video, I'm going to be doing a brief demonstration on, first of all, how efficient it is to use a stapler to put frames together. So what you're going to have to do if you put frames together with a hammer and nails is to do basically the same thing I'm doing here, only put it together your way. I'm going to put together 10 frames just by hand with the staple gun, and you'll see how fast that goes. So if you'd like to make a comparison of that with a hammer and nails, you should time yourself putting 10 frames together. And then after I'm done with that, I'm going to grab my new 40 frame assembly jig that I just built and make a comparison of that doing 40 frames. So to compare, obviously I'm going to multiply the 10 frame time by 4 and get an approximate comparison time. Here goes. So there we have it. 7 minutes and 8 seconds. There's the proof. Okay, 7 minutes and 8 seconds. So if we're gonna beat that doing 40 frames, we need to beat 28 minutes and 28 and a half minutes basically. So I'm going to check this all down and get the jig set up, and then we'll do a test with 40 frames with the jig. All right, now I'm all set up for to use the new jig. The way this works is there are little holes down in the ends here where these 1x3s slide into. You'll see me slide them in here in a minute because that's kind of part of the setup time, I guess. Since we're doing a time test, it's kind of important. Just for information, the kind of frames that I'm using wedge top bars, combination of grooved and divided bottom bars. In Manlake versions, they're virtually the same, just the groove goes all the way through. So that doesn't make a difference for assembly. Some other types of frames do have actual divided bottom bars, so there'll be a different time for that. So, all right, let me blow my nose really quick and I'll get ready to go. Sorry if I sniffle during the video a little bit. I'm allergic to dust, so being out here when things are stirred up and I can get a little bit of sinus problems. So, I'm gonna shut off the microphone and blow my nose, and then we'll get going here. Oh, also, very important, Titebond 3 glue. This is the way I assemble all my frames. If I don't glue them, I find that over years of use, the frames will get loose, and so they'll be able to do this sort of nonsense. So I don't want that. Definitely don't want that if I'm selling these frames going out to somebody else in the form of nucleus hives. So let's get started. Time, here we go, start. I like to go in this way so that the curve of the board holds the end bars tightly. Should probably mark these so I don't have to look at them every time. However, it's possible that humidity changes could change that. So who knows? Maybe I shouldn't mark them. You can find plans for this, not specifically this jig. I didn't find any for this jig. But you can find plans for a 10-frame version of this jig online for free in many different places. You don't have to look hard. There's also a couple of other designs. I found this one, I debated for a while, found this one to be the best design, simplest, easiest to construct, easiest to work with. You got to think through every step of the process. You can't just start with a design and go with it because it works for step one. You have to kind of imagine your way through every step of the process, find the bugs before you design and build something like this. Or, you know, maybe that's just the engineer in me. Maybe not everybody does that. Alright, coming to the end of putting the end bars in on one side. That's 40 end bars on this side. And the time for that is right at 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 3 seconds. Okay, starting on the other side. There's a couple of benefits to using a jig. Number one being that it's faster. We will see how much faster it is. Get in there. Another benefit, one that's really important to me, is getting the frame straight. Because if you put them together by hand, when the glue dries or when the nails or whatever, when all said and done, they might possibly be ever so slightly off in one direction or the other, which can end up being annoying later on, especially years down the road when you're trying to rehabilitate frames, put everything back together. You can do this either top bar up or top bar down for the first step. I'm doing it top bar down because I think that will make everything straighter. Could be wrong. I've seen these made a lot looser. I tried to make it to the tightest tolerance as possible. So it is actually takes a little effort to shove these down in here sometimes. But they also come in ever so slightly different thicknesses, you know, in the order of a few thousandths of an inch. When you got something that's good and tight like this, every thousandth counts. But the tighter they are, the straighter they will be, I hope. There we go. Now the next task is to glue. Now, a trick that I found online is to kind of dab the glue on one side and then kind of drag the kind of trail of glue over. Or I could just dab the bottom. That'd probably save glue. I don't think it works very well for this. Well, no, I think we better put some on the sides. And then let that kind of glue dripper thing kind of get down in the bottom, kind of fall down in there. I made this jig as a 40 frame jig specifically to fit on this table. Could possibly have gone bigger. But you also get to the point where the jig is so big that the glue starts drying before you can get back to putting the bottom bars on, or the top bars. And we don't want that to happen because then they won't fit together properly. I find there's no need to buy the gallon of glue. These little squeeze bottles work just fine. You can save a couple of bucks by buying the gallon, but you also risk it drying out on you, leaving the lid open. I bought a gallon and it froze, and glue, like paint, kind of congeals when it freezes, so keep that in mind. All right, here we go. Time for the end bar, or bottom bar, sorry. All right, we can just kind of slam them in there. Don't have to worry about making sure the ends are in the right place because they're already in the right place. There I go, sniffing again. In fact, now that I think about it, it might be to my benefit every batch of frames that I do to come in through here with a sander and sand a little bit of the dried glue off so that it doesn't build up such that it becomes a problem trying to put frames together. Alright, where are we at? We're at 8 minutes 25 seconds. Hey, maybe if somebody from Lowe's sees this video, I can get a sponsorship for using their logo. What do you think? That would be nice. Alright, there we have the first batch of bottom bars on, and now we will begin to staple them. There we go. We're now at 11 minutes 26 seconds. Next step is to take this and flip it so that we can put the top bars on. Push it down, there we go. Everything's settling in, very good. Glue first. Probably could save a few seconds if I didn't have to blow my nose all the time. These top ones, I think we can live with a dab of glue on the bottom because there's a lot better surface area to work with. So that's what we'll do. And a little glue does go a long way. I mean, if you imagine, once glue gets squeezed out, there's just a very little thin membrane of glue between the two pieces of wood. And this is Titebond 3 and it holds very well. Totally waterproof. Very effective glue. Top bars are a little tighter. But overall, a very good quality. It's one of the reasons why I buy from Man Lake. Very rarely have a problem with their frames. The price is pretty good, especially in bulk. Don't buy anything less than 100. In my case, it's getting to be in the 1,000 range. Gotta reload or I'm not gonna make it to the end. Alright, now let's do a quick unloading. And then we will call time. There we go. 18 minutes, 19 seconds. So, doing the math, that means we saved about 10 minutes over 40 frames. So, if we were to round up, that means we're doing it at about 2/3 the time for the same production of frames. So I think that's pretty useful. And if I had another person working across the table from me, I could do it literally twice as fast. I would need a second staple gun, but literally twice as fast this could be done. So that means instead of 8 minutes, we could do it in 18 minutes, we could do it in 9 minutes. So that's all for this video. If you have any questions or comments, post them down below. Links in the description to other treatment-free beekeeping resources. And have fun keeping bees, because if you're not having fun, you probably shouldn't be doing it.